the In This League Podcast Network.
This is Bet This League. On In This League, it's Bogman, it's The Welsh, it's a Friday edition where we, little ITL boys, we are going to be rolling through all of the stuff and all of the things. What do we have for you? How about our top 10 best picks of the week, some DFS plays. We're going to see where the money is and how the money played last week. And of course, we're going to go through some exploitable matchups by Mr. Scott Bogman. If you guys want to check out all the cool stuff like my prop sheet, which, hands up, said it a million times, 9-6, that is 3 straight like big winning weeks. It was a 9-6 area, 12-3, 9-6, 9-6. That's how we've gone the last 3 weeks with the top 15. That's actually as soon as I moved to just doing 15. I kind of was just like throwing a bunch all on here, and I'm staying a little bit more locked in and not just throwing everything on here. So 15, we've been doing pretty good. You can get that at inthisleague.com if you sign up today. You can get Bogman's IDP ranks. You can get his weekly normal ranks. You can get my stuff with the with the prop stuff, the prop things and the blah, blah, blah. Also, we've got group me rooms, secret shows, all the things. You want to support us, come and check it out, inthisleague.com. That's what keeps the lights on and pays the StreamYard and does the things with the pudding pops that are legal, very legal that we do. We legal betting that we have, which is very, very exciting. And also, talk about exciting, just real quick. We're coming off that Thursday night game. Holy crap. Bogman and I just went through a wide range of emotions of gambling.
We're ECU fans.
Yeah, we were ECU fans.
Biggest Pirate fans. You guys know. We love Holt Naylor.
Always have. Yep, that left-hander. Right. I buy all the Tim Tebow comparisons that they wanted to give him. I'll live with every single one of them. But I put 2 bets on them. And I also had a little bit of action in the Cardinals game.
In that one.
Bogman was like, he's like ECU -8. And I'm like, all right, well, it's -9.5 and 10 everywhere on the planet. He's like, not worried about it. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, okay. It was actually -8.5 and 9.5. So I took one at 9.5, and I think I got an 8.5 on FanDuel. I did both of those. I had a really dumb, I fell like a big, dumb, stupid, dipshit idiot for one of the FanDuel boosts where they're like, hey, Kyler Murray touchdown in the passing touchdown in the first and second half. But then I played one prop in this game, and it was Zach Ertz receiving yards, which was I got at 30.5 and cha-ching. So, but there was a moment where I was winning absolutely nothing. Zach Ertz had 24 yards. The Cardinals never had the ball. ECU was trying to give up the ball. Cardinals were getting their asses kicked. And I was like, oh, I'm going to lose every single bet tonight. And then it turned. But it was a wide range of emotions. And that freaking game, I almost had the Cardinals were involved in a teaser for me. And I almost had that alive.
ECU is going to lose this. The Cardinals are going to lose. Zach Ertz is going to get 7 yards. And I'm not recording Bet This League.
No. Bet This League wasn't happening if all that happened. I was like, no, I'm just going to go to bed. I'll be done with that. But, it was crazy because that was, I don't even know if you would call it a backdoor undercover or however you would do it. It was just the Packers are on the half-yard line. They can't score. They don't get it on 4th down. Life to the Cardinals. 1 touchdown kills the under for anybody. And, a touchdown gets the Cardinals back in action, especially for my teaser at least. Green Bay was kind of always at play. And then A.J. Green with just...
It's a heart racer game for sure.
Maybe the dumbest play of the year.
I don't know what he was doing. I'm sure we'll hear about it at some point. He thought it was a run play or whatever.
It looked like he was pass blocking or run
blocking.
Really
did. It looked like he was run blocking. So I don't know what he was doing. He just thought the ball wasn't going to come to him, and it went right to Stokes.
You know what I thought too? I don't want to be killing too much time here, but I just saw Kyler
or Rasul Douglas.
He got up and he was favoring that ankle. On the life of me, would have bet that Kyler was playing up that ankle. I thought he was playing up, kind of limping around because he wasn't asking to come out or anything, and he was going to run it in. I thought he was trying to show the defense, oh, I'm limping, and then he was going to jet in, and then after, he looked fine, makes the throw, pick goes, and then he falls on the ground. He's like, oh, my ankle hurts so bad now, I can't get up. But Packer fans ecstatic, under fans ecstatic, Green Bay cover fans ecstatic, and ECU fans very ecstatic for us. And Bogman might have a little a little adjustment on the top 10 bets this week. I'm gonna just spoil a little bit. We are going to see a college football bet on here, which I'm ecstatic to see because that is Bogman's plays, and I'll let you do that when we get into it. Follow us on Twitter at @IsItTheWelsh, at Bogman Sports. Let's bet this league, Bogman, and what are some matchups we're going to do so?
Yeah, look, Cincinnati defense against the New York Jets. Mike White's first NFL start. It's already ugly, and it's already, he was so ugly last week, and I know the Bengals don't have great pass rush numbers, but they do have great pass rush players. So to see Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson get to Mike White when they have to pass in the second half because they're already down by 20 points, it's going to be hard to watch Mike White in that. So if Joe Flacco gets a helmet, we might see him in this game. Which this
doesn't have the feel of one of those like sneaky like, hey, Mike White. It's like, no, this is gonna be gross.
Nope, it's gonna be gross.
Who was the quarterback who threw the 6 picks?
6 picks?
Oh man, he was a Bills quarterback. I'm completely drawing a blank.
Oh, you're thinking of the 7 picks by Ty Detmer.
No, I'm not thinking of that. Well, I mean, that's a great one. No, it was more recently.
Favre threw 6 picks in the playoffs.
Nah, he's like synonymous with his picks. It's not coming to
Nate
me.
Peterson.
That's it. That's who I was thinking of. Nate Peterson, 100% who I was thinking of.
Matt Schaub, remember, with the pick 6s also.
This feels like this could be a Nate Peterson situation.
Nate Peterman, yeah.
Peterman.
But
Peterson.
yeah, I mean, look,
Peter.
Mike White, Peta. Mike White over 1.5 interception prop plays at plus 170. So
really, where?
DK. So that's 2 picks. He's got to throw 2.
That's
so
okay.
It seems pretty likely, but that's why you make the bet. My second exploitable matchup is just some wide receivers here: Kupp, Woods, Jefferson, anyone versus Houston. I think they are going to absolutely torch the secondary for Houston. That's not going to be a close game. I think what is going to be a close game is wide receivers in Dallas and Minnesota. I mean, you get Kupp, you get Coop, you get Lamb, you get, Michael Gallup's probably not back, so Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz I really like this week. And then on the other side, Jefferson, Thielen and Osborne, I think and Tyler Conklin, I think it's a good matchup for pass catchers.
I like Jefferson. I just want to throw it. I like Jefferson a lot too. He's involved in one of my top 15. I think he is. Let me look at my top 15 on the prop sheet. Did I put him in? Oh, you know what? I didn't put him in, but I will tell you one that he was the teetering line. Then I guess was the longest reception prop, because I know Diggs will probably be lined up on him. But when Diggs isn't giving up receptions or interceptions or getting interceptions, he's giving up big plays. It's just what he does.
Well, we know what's going to happen. Jefferson's going to score a 50-yard touchdown, and Trayvon Diggs is going to have a pick. So,
So love the longest reception prop for Jefferson this game.
Seems like we have that. Look, I'm going to go back to Damian Harris. We talked about him last week, but he's got an even better matchup. Chargers is coming off a bye, but they're giving up 162.5 yards on the ground. And I'm going to go to Hunter Henry here, too. Second biggest tight end mismatch because so many linebackers are hurt for the Chargers. I think they might be starting. I would love to see you pronounce his name, man. The middle linebacker from Oklahoma State that's starting for the Los Angeles Chargers. Can you want to go look it up?
Yeah, we used to have a game. We did this. It was all right. So hold on. It was, what is it? Chargers linebacker from Oklahoma.
Yes, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma. Oh, okay. Oklahoma, where okay. Let's see. His name is. Okay, hold on a second. Let me. Okay. Amen.
Yep.
Agbong Bing. Agbo Baminga. Abba Baminga. Abba Baminga. I think I nailed that after a couple. Abba Baminga. Abba Baminga. Abang Baminga.
You got it. That's
Abang Baminga. Abang Bamima.
Perfect. You nailed it. So
Abang Baminga.
Yep, that's exactly right. God bless.
Amen.
So look, he's probably going to be the guy covering Hunter Henry in the tight ends here. So let's go Hunter Henry. I love him this week. Kenneth Gainwell versus Detroit. Philly hasn't been running the ball really well, but Detroit allows the most yards before contact in the NFL to opposing rushers, 1.72 yards per rush before contact. So you would like to see Philly establish the run this week. and they should be running a lot in the second half after getting up on Detroit. I don't think this game is going to be very close. I know other people that think it is because of what Detroit did last week. I think it's a letdown spot, so I'm not into them.
Also,
and
just want to throw out just on Gainwell, because I had him as one of my big plays this week on the ITL pod. Giving up Detroit, giving up the most receiving touchdowns to running backs, and they've given up 6 total touchdowns across. And
Gainwell scored a couple receiving touchdowns.
Yeah,
too,
so I mean, Gainwell plays in the receiving side, even if Boston Scott or AK Bogman Scott is in there. So I love that play.
And then my last one is Cortland Sutton versus Kendall Fuller. Fuller has the second most yards allowed in the NFL and 71.9% completion percentage to opposing pass catchers. So Cortland Sutton's probably going to draw him because he's the number 1 for Washington. Jerry Jeudy could draw him too. Doesn't really matter. The whole secondary blows for Washington. So I think Cortland Sutton's going to have a big game. I think Noah Fant could, and Jerry Jeudy could too if they give him enough snaps. So love Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, it's a big blowfest in Washington for sure. I wonder if that's in the report. Big old blowfest in the secondary. And those are great plays, so use them as you will. So we've been playing this game every single week of watching where the money is. You know, it's a little stock market watch. We're watching where the heavy cash is. We're doing it on Thursday. It can change on a whim, so obviously you guys know that they can't adjust. But I think we feel relatively good about. We do this on late Thursday night. You guys, if you listen on Fridays, you're going to get a good feel for it. And the 2 weeks prior, it's gone 3-2, I believe it was. It's gone over 500 as far as the money plays hitting. That did not happen this week by a large margin. It went 2-4. So of the 6, 4 did not hit. Yeah, this was a fade the public moment. The only 2 that hit were the Jets New England over, which, by the way, had the second most money attached to it of all of them at 42.5. And the second least was the Chicago Tampa Bay under at 47.5. Those are the only 2 that hit. Kansas City, Tennessee over 57.5. Washington, Green Bay over at 48.5. Houston and Arizona over at 47.5. Those were all way over 90% money. They all did not hit. And the lowest was the Rams -15 versus Detroit. Did not hit. So if you faded the public last week in that front, you did well. This week, we have got 6. I think we got one off. And 6. And interestingly enough, all in the 90 percentile. That's what I will tell you. All in the 90 percentile of cash. Except this last one, which is not a 90, which for some reason, might need glasses, Bogman. Maybe that's why I'm breaking my toe. Everybody on the planet, as I'm on toe break 3, has literally someone was like, do you think you need glasses? And I was like, it's not really like I'm just running into things. It's my legs and my feet. My feet have a bad depth perception. It's not my eyes. And I'm just hitting the edge of things.
You're a tall guy and you kind of have a weird gait as well, is what I would say. Like the way you walk. I don't think you're.
Do I walk like a duck? What do you?
No,
am I a clown? What am I funny? What do you?
I mean, you are very funny, and your big giant ski feet are funny too. But you do have a little bit of a wider gait, I think, than most people. I think most people are this, and you're a little,
Yeah, and I don't think I fully caught up to that.
Right. So I think just a little turn will stick your toe out a little bit more than.
But maybe I do need glasses because I saw that 80. So I thought that 80 as a 90. So maybe it's.
If you saw 87 as a 90, then yeah, you do need glasses.
I see it now, but on a quick glance, all the other 90s played me. So here are the 6. If you and do it as you will. Now here's another interesting experiment. The previous 2, before last week, we had 5. And then when we moved to 6, we went into a fade the public. We again are in a 6. So I wonder if this is going to be another instance of fading the public. Here are your 6, Boggs. And I'm going to just lay them out and we can talk about any that you want to. All of these 90% or more except for the final one. Which actually, I'll give you that one first just because then that what I'm saying plays. The only one that's not 90% but is over 85% is the Washington-Denver under at 44.5. And you and I'll just say this right now, Bogman and I openly on the radio where we do every single game, we're fading that one. That's a fade for both of us. So we'll just tell you we're with it. Yeah, we're fading it if we were going to play it. The 90s, you have New England at the Chargers under 49.5. Buffalo -14 versus Miami. Philly at Detroit over 48. Rams at Houston under 47.5, and the Tampa New Orleans over 50. So all of those but the Washington Denver over 90. And we know from doing this now for the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's never 100%. So, there's some ones in here you're probably going to have felt really, really good about. I mean, I think a lot of people are feeling good about that New England Charger one. That Philly Denver one is tantalizing. But you and I also, I think we were going through the stats, and I think it was Detroit and Philly are both. Yeah, but Detroit and Philly were both under against the spread. So that's another one we're fading. But, I would say the New England Chargers, the New England/Chargers and the Rams/Houston unders. I think those are two very, very popular ones in a lot of people's minds, but we know these aren't all going to hit. It hasn't yet.
This is why Vegas keeps the lights on, man. These games that are specifically last week, Kansas City, Tennessee, 95% over, 94%, 85, 96%. These highest percentages didn't hit. So one of them did, but I don't know, man. I'm on the opposite side of most of these plays this week. So that makes me feel better about my plays.
Yeah, so. The Washington and Philly one, I'm both on the under, so I'm fading those. I have no stake in Tampa Bay, New Orleans. I'm not even interested. But the New England Charger one, I do like the under. And the Rams Houston, I can get down with the under. So I think there's 3 I like in here. I like Washington Denver for the over to fade. I like the Philly Detroit under to fade. And I would take the New England Chargers under, which is with the public. That's how I would play these. Of these 6, there's 3 I'm interested in. If I wanted to get crazy, maybe I'd throw that Rams one in there as well.
Yeah, I mean,
are these all fades for you?
I don't like a lot of bets this week, but I mean, I do. I don't like most of the. I'm not super confident in any of these.
I'm gonna even mark this. I'm gonna say Welsh, and then I'm gonna go Welsh fade. And if you have any, I'm gonna mark this so we can do that.
I love the Buffalo -14. I do like that one.
And you can fade one that you like or you love to fade, because I have 3 that I like here. I'm fading 2 and I'm playing 1. You like Buffalo, Miami. Do you want to? Do you love any fades?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm not messing with this Philly Detroit game for the most part. I think most of these I'm just steering clear of. I think that Tampa Bay. I hate that Tampa Bay New Orleans.
Yeah, I don't want that in any part.
I don't want that one. So no, I just like the Buffalo one. Is all I'll say.
Okay, we're gonna hit a quick break. When we come back, it's our top 10 bets. While you guys are at it, though, come and check us out at twitch.tv/inthisleague. If you guys want to see this guy and this guy play some Madden against each other, we get infuriated, but we have the best time on the planet. We're also going to be implementing some fun things as far as tournaments. We're going to play against each other, maybe even playing against some of our listeners. And you can not only just follow so and you get dinged when we're playing, but we've also got a sub element to it where you can subscribe to us. If you have Amazon, you can actually use one Amazon for free. And in that, you can disable ads that are involved in there. We're creating a system of a soundboard where you can play ITL specific clips, and we have ITL only emojis, which subscribers will have some access to, and you can use the bits and stuff there. So come and check us out, twitch.tv/inthisleague, if you guys want to have more of so much fun. Top 10 bets right after this.
The In This League Podcast Network.
We can officially say that we were both over 500 on our top 10 bets as we get our feet under ourselves through the process. It's like the Philly. There's no Ben Simmons here, but, trust the process. Get through the process. We did. It's nothing for us to write home about or to call Vegas or to be like, hey, Yahoo Sportsbook, you looking for some more employees or whatever it is. Nothing like that. But we both did hit the over. We were both 6-4 on our bets last week. Now, there were a couple frustrating ones.
Yeah.
I just barely missed that Atlanta. I think the Atlanta one was 2 points. I'm trying to... obviously the Sam Darnold one is infamous now, where Sam Darnold was pulled at 25 pass attempts and another 14 were done by PJ Walker. So, you and I always talk about our process. I feel like my process had me at 8-2.
Well, dude, so Devontae Adams' longest reception, I had a 26.5. His longest reception was 26. So, That one is incredibly frustrating. Just get another yard before you get hurt. And then, I think Darrell Henderson had like 15
He had 15.
carries. I
had
had him
16
at 16 and a half.
Yeah.
So he had a couple catches too. It's like, just turn those into rushes. But I mean, look, it's the way she goes. So, but over 500 is playing well. So
over 500 is great. That's what we want to be playing for. We were both 6-4. Thank you very much. 9-6 on the prop sheet last week. So from a play perspective, they can be had, but you can always, as always, you can play or you can fade. We've got our top 10 best bets, our favorite bets of the week. And Bogman, kick us off.
Look, I'm going to start with some college bets here. And if you want to get the the deep dive in these, I do have a Betting Pros article, and these games are both in there. I'll give you the quick synopsis. I'm going to take the FSU Clemson under 47.5. The reason I'm doing this is because Clemson, win or lose, controls the game. They do control the game, and they stop people from scoring. Only 2 of their games have gone over 40 points this year. It was the game last week against Pitt that they lost, and the loss against NC State. I think they're going to beat FSU, and they are playing to the under. Clemson is 6-1. The one game that didn't go under went over by a half point. That was that NC State game. They had it at 47.5 and went to 48. So most games that Clemson plays go to the under. My other game, and I know this is risky because Louisiana Monroe is not a good football team, right? But since their new quarterback Rogers has taken over, I think I want to call him Charles, but I know his first name isn't Charles Rogers. So, but anyway, since this kid took over,
the Lions will draft him immediately.
Chandler Rogers. They have been scoring 31 points per game. And, I love them plus 27.5 against App State. App State is a lower scoring team. They win with defense. They won last week 33-19. So I think that ULM is going to be able to stay within 27.5 points of App State here. And look, Rich Rod is their offensive coordinator. And Rich Rod's son got hurt, and that's why Chandler Rogers is in here. A little nepotism at that starting quarterback spot. And now the offense is rolling with Chandler Rogers. So I'm taking them. Those are my 2 college bets. I'm starting.
I love them. And I can attest, Bogman's got some ducats down for these too. He's putting his money where his mouth is. So it is invested. More than one of my units are involved in that too. So you can play those. I can tell you that. I've got 2 bets coming out of Tennessee. Number one, I'll just tell you real quick, is Tennessee plus 2.5 right now. Now that's on DK. We've seen, I hate it, but I took a super early bet where I had Tennessee -1. It has moved all the way on DK to -2.5. I know there's a lot of Indianapolis lovers in there, but I think Tennessee is a better team, especially after watching Indianapolis in this last game. Carson Wentz still makes mistakes. I think Tennessee has got the offensive weapon. Derrick Henry controls the ball. The defense, as far as like wide receivers go, has been the problem in Tennessee, but I don't think that's a strength of the Colts. I don't think that passing game is a major strength, which I think works in favor of Tennessee. If you get a healthier out there Julio Jones, that would be great. An interesting note on them is both of these teams are 5-2 against the spread, and both are 4-3 on the over/under. So the over/under might be a good play here too. They're both 5-2 against the spread, but I'm getting 2.5 points on Tennessee. Derrick Henry, I'm going to take the 2.5 points. And speaking of said Derrick Henry, I'm actually going to take maybe a little bit of an opposite one than I think a lot of people would expect and would be looking at with Derrick Henry. I'm going to take his receiving yards prop, Bogman. His receiving yards prop. Where
that's one catch, That's why I love those props.
Well, with the running back, not necessarily, and Derrick Henry doesn't fall into this. But
he's been catching more balls because they have to find a way to get him the football.
Every single game except Jacksonville. Jacksonville, he had no targets and no receptions. But it's the only game this season that he has not caught at least 2 balls. And guess what? The receiving prop this week is 12.5 yards. He would have hit that in every single game he has caught a ball in this season. Every single game that the ball gets thrown to him, he hits that. This is going to be a competitive game against Indianapolis. He will get targeted. It's 12.5 yards. This is a top tier bet for me. It's actually my number 1 on my prop sheet. I love it. I've bet it myself, and you can too, if you would.
Look, I'm going to stay in that game for my first one here, and I'm going to go Carson Wentz over 11.5 rushing yards. And normally, this is what you get from Carson Wentz, by the way, this year, is you either get him running for a bunch of yards, over 20 or under 10. But we saw him running against San Francisco, and that was the first time I said Carson Wentz is healthy. Like, I think he looks good. I think he's fully recovered from all of his stuff, and he looks spry. He likes to pull it down and run sometimes. Bud Dupree is good coming off the edge. So I think they make him run a couple times, and I think he easily gets that 11.5 yards. The other one I'm going to give you is a little convoluted, right? Because it's one play that you have to parlay to get to the plus number. But it's interceptions. Over a half an interception for Tua and Jameis pays out at plus 128. If you take them separate, they're both at minus money. So I'm going to take this because I think these are easy bets. To the
so
Miami
you're parlay.
Dolphins.
So this one is a parlay.
It's a parlay. Yeah, I wouldn't bet them separate because it's minus. So you take them both to get to that plus 128 number on DK at least.
Interesting.
And so Tua is playing against Buffalo. Buffalo has one of the best secondaries in the league. They're coming off a bye week. They should get up. Tua's going to have to throw deep. I think he's going to throw a pick. I think it's almost guaranteed. Same thing with Jameis against Tampa Bay. For me, it's not about the secondary being good in Tampa Bay because it's not. It's bad. It's more about Jameis getting panicked and throwing because Shaq Barrett and JPP are bearing down on him like we saw them doing last week. So I think they both easily throw a pick. So I think this one is a very winnable one, and you get plus money on it. So do it.
That's actually a really fun parlay. I didn't even mean to do this because I didn't see you had that. I've also got the Tua interception on my prop sheet.
Didn't see it.
I didn't either. I didn't even see it. I put it there. I'm okay with even playing it because I think it's minus like 130 or something like that.
Minus
It is
170.
Oh, is it minus 170?
It might be. I'll look it up, but
okay,
yeah, it's not great.
Well, one of the reasons behind that, by the way, is Tua is averaging an interception a game. He's only played 4 games. He has thrown interceptions in 3 of the 4 games. He had a multi-interception against Atlanta.
2 last week. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just away from it, so I can't check what it is right now. I had it as a solo bet, but I agree with you. I would be jumping on that in some form of a parlay. I kind of like doing a dueled out interception parlay. I hadn't thought about that, so I like yours. So I'm going to just add that to mine.
It's minus 190.
All right.
I think that moved from the last time I looked at it. So it mine might not pay off at positive money anymore.
I might give a different one towards the end then. So here's my next 2. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati game. I'm going to take, it's a big line, but I think we've seen that some of the big liners, what was it? Our boy Chad had said it was like over 60% of, the double digit favors have been covering.
And they hit the under with it.
Yeah, and they hit the under with it, which is, there's another interesting point. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals, who've moved all the way up to minus 11. But I think at this point, you just can't care. The New York Jets are 1-5 against the spread this season, where I just went away from it. The Cincinnati Bengals are 4-3 against the spread. And the Jets have lost 3 of their 6 games by more than 11 points. And the Cincinnati Bengals are rolling. The Jets have a backup quarterback out there. It's just an absolute no-brainer to me. Even
I'm just going to say, I also have this. So,
oh, do you also have that? I didn't
the Jets are miserable. So I'll just throw it in there so I can skip it when we get to it. I also have that.
The other one in this game, this might be a lazy or a chalk one. And unfortunately, it kind of has this feel of like you got to do it until it doesn't work. But Jamar Chase, longest reception, is literally the one that cashes every single week. It has cashed every single week of the season. He has not had a game with a reception of less than 34 yards. And it's 27.5, which is a pretty big number. But guys like him and Cooper Kupp just do it. He's done it every single game of the season, and they're going up against the Jets. It's one of PFF's top matchups as well as far as corner wide receivers go. So I'll just jump back in. Obviously, there's that, you're playing with that battle of like, oh, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work at some point. It's worked every single week this season, and it's against the Jets. I'm going to play it.
It's like a Trayvon Diggs getting a pick, right? That's
exactly
what I keep saying. I keep saying that to Piece of P on the IDP show. I'm like, it can't happen every week, Joe. So he's like, well, why do you have Diggs at 11? And I'm like, because it's not going to happen every week. And that's still a DB1 at 11, by the way. So
All right, I have a new prop to add at the end for the 201.
All right. So for me, I told you I got the Cincinnati minus 10.5, 11. I go up to 13.5 on that. I don't care. So I think they win by more than 2 touchdowns, but 2 touchdowns you're getting dicey. So 13.5 is what I go up to. Because it is going to move, because no one can take the Jets. They're miserable.
Well, real quick too, just to add, I want to throw in where the money is, at least as of Thursday. Those will change, especially if the line jumps up.
I bet you it's close to 60 instead of like 70 or 80 because the line's so big. There are some people that just flat out won't do double digits.
You almost nailed it. It is a slight favor cash for Cincinnati, but you're talking over 80% of the tickets are on Cincinnati as if you're looking at the spread. But interestingly, with that stat we talked about of those double-digit favorites, people are also smashing the under. It's a pretty dominant under that's going with that as well. So just FYI.
And then my other one in that game, I'm going to take Michael Carter over 18.5 receiving yards. We saw what Mike White did when he came in after Zach Wilson got hurt last week. He dumped the ball off 1 million times to Michael Carter. So I think 18.5 is kind of easy. So hopefully they have him in there. There may be a little bit of, do we want to put a vet back there to, protect our rookie quarterback? But they would do that with Zach Wilson too. So, and Zach Wilson got hurt. So it doesn't really matter. I think Michael Carter is going to be in there. I think he's going to catch 4 to 5 dump off balls. I think 18.5 is an easy total for him to hit.
I really like that one so much that I have it on my prop sheet. Not on this one, but I have it on my prop sheet.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I didn't do that. I'll give you a couple running back ones that I dig here. Elijah Mitchell with my San Francisco 49ers, who is coming off of 107 yards. When Elijah Mitchell, unless it's the Philly game, at least the other two, he has had 17 or more carries in 3 of his 4 starts, completely shut down in the Philly one. But the other 2 starts, he's gone over 100 yards. And let me see if I can get it on my prop sheet. I did some math in this one. Okay, so check this out, Pops. I did some math for Elijah Mitchell. First off, the Bears, by the way, are giving up over 80 yards rushing to running backs in 4 of the last 5 games of this year. And 3 of those 5 have been over 135 or more rushing yards have gone to running backs. The 49ers primarily use Elijah Mitchell. So here's some math that I did because it can be a little bit tough with him. Elijah Mitchell on the season in his games is averaging 15.75 carries per game. So let's round up to 16, Boggs. He's also averaging 4.7 yards per carry. 16 times 4.7 gets us 75 yards. His rushing prop is 69 yards. I think it may have moved up a little bit when I took it to even 72. I'm still comfortable with it because the Bears give it up and the averages work in his favor only if he gets 16, but he is the primary guy. So I like that one. And the other one that I'm jumping in on, a couple of these are on my prop sheet, is James Robinson. James Robinson receiving yards prop. And that's a top tier one for me. It's at 21.5 coming off of a bye in Bogman. The Seahawks have given this number up to running backs every single game this season. Now, you have multiple running backs. It's all the running backs, but the Jaguars are primarily using James Robinson and in the pass game. So if they've given up this number every single game this season, James Robinson's an easy play.
Will you, if Urban Meyer comes out after the bye week with some tricky nonsense of not using James Robinson, will you murder him?
I might send some ladies to a bar. I know how to get him.
Do the rest of it. Right. Let him do the rest of it.
I know how to get him.
You talked about the Niners game. I'm going to take the Niners just minus the 3.5. I think that's an easy win for them against Chicago. Yeah. Chicago's a little beat up on defense right now. They looked completely defeated last week, specifically Justin Fields. So I don't think this is the week they get back on track. So I will take the Niners minus the 3.5. And I'm going to take Philly minus the 3.5 at Detroit.
Me too.
I'm going to put my money where my mouth is on that one because I said, look, I know Detroit has played hard, but it has got to be deflating when you go in and you have a chance to win, you pull out all the stops against the Rams and you still lose by 8. You beat the spread, but you still lose by 8. It wasn't even really close. So I gotta take Philly in this game.
I've also got that Philly one minus 3.5 on this sheet here. I'm going to give you my last 3, and then you've got a little theme that you can end with us. So Philly minus 3.5 is my number 7. I've got Denver, Washington over 44.5, which we talked about on the money sheet. That's a fade for me. Love that one. Horrible secondary for Washington. Bridgewater's in, you mentioned as far as exploitable matchups, Bridgewater's kind of in a good spot. Washington has some big playability. It's not a huge number. My two props, Leonard Fournette, anytime touchdown. Anytime touchdown. Don't know what it is, where it is. He does. Now, there's another one of those where I think he scored in like 3 straight games rushing touchdowns, but I like it as a receiving touchdown.
If you win that one, I should get some of your money.
Yeah.
Because I've been propping up Leonard Fournette for years.
So. And I'm going to play that one against New Orleans. And then finally, in place of the 201, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Sanders' longest reception, 22.5. The team has moved, the defenses have been very focused on Diggs, and it's allowed Emmanuel Sanders to hit this. I lost it because I did this on the fly, but I'd want to say he's hit this like 4 of the 6 weeks or something like that. And I like the prop, 22.5. Emmanuel Sanders, big play. Those are my 10.
I've got 2 in the Atlanta-Carolina game. So let's make this game fun to watch, right? Put some money on it somewhere, something.
I've got a couple of them in the prop sheet as well.
But look, I think the easiest one that might be on the sheet is Mike Davis under 51.5 total yards because they just went completely away from him.
You did total.
51.5 total yards.
Yeah.
I mean, how does he get there? They have been not utilizing him at all. They'd have to get up on Carolina and then like force feed him the ball, which I don't know if that's something they're going to do. So under 51.5 yards, I think is an easy hit. I wanted to go with Kyle Pitts receiving yards, but it's getting kind of up there. It's 61. It's 61.5, which I think he could hit. But if they get up real quick, why would they throw a ton towards him? So I'll take the receptions. I think over 4.5 is easier. I think, you want to get him established quick. You throw a couple short ones to him, then you get him open a little bit deeper. And I think he can hit 5 catches without issue. I think he's had 9 and 7 in the last 2 games. So I think 4.5 is a low total for him.
I actually just rocked a little funsy Deebo Samuel receiving yards prop and Kyle Pitts reception. I just paired them together and I put that little prop out there, so hopefully that plays. So again, I've got Derrick Henry receiving yards, Tennessee plus 2.5, Cincy minus 11, Jamar Chase longest reception, 27.5, Elijah Mitchell rushing yards, 69.5, but it's probably a little bit more. James Robinson receiving yards, 21.5, Philly minus 3.5, Denver Washington over, Leonard Fournette anytime touchdown, and Emmanuel Sanders longest reception, 22.5.
Love it.
Boom.
Easy. Those
are the plays, baby.
That's all of them.
That's all of them. So there you go. Player fade. Let us know how you go. Final up, some DFS plays right after this.
The In This League Podcast Network.
DFS, FanDuel, and the DraftKings. Bogman covers the DraftKings. I cover the FanDuel. Oh, man. I was doing real good before the games ended in our contest. We have an In This League contest. If you're part of our Patreon, we run a DK. It's a lot of fun, obviously in week 8 now. And if you were a part, at least lieutenant or above, you could be taking part in that as we post the room. Sometimes it gets to sergeants, but better play is a little bit up. And you could maybe just pay for your ITL membership for the year if you're in there. And if I had CJ Uzomah as my tight end, I probably would have got really close, but there was some big scoring this past week, and there were some really, really big plays out there. So let's get to what do you got? Do you want to go per, or do you want to just do?
Let's just roll.
Okay.
So I'll just do.
You run DraftKings for us.
And by the way, should I just read you off my lineup so I can prove that I put my lineup in for our contest?
Oh, for our contest?
Yeah.
I mean, you might want to save it. You might want to save it.
I have some good ones in there. It's set. I have filled it out and submitted and paid my money.
Yeah, I was about to say, you might have just helped me. I got to make sure I don't have any carryover because you named a couple guys that I also like.
So here's my quarterbacks that I like this week on DK, which I'm not using them in that contest, but I still like these guys. Stafford, 7,600, obviously expensive, but I think they're going to torch the Texans. You just hope he throws those touchdowns, but they usually do in LA. They're not going to Darrell Henderson a ton. So 7,600 for him. Matt Ryan, 5,900. I just like the price on him. I know he's a line star guy too. They like him this week. I think that's a good price. The secondary in Carolina is bad. They tried to trade for 1,000 guys to try to fix it. Not fixed quite yet. Running backs, I mean, you're going to hear guys you've already heard. Damian Harris at 6,100 is a decent buy against the worst rush defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Kenny Gainwell against the team that gives up the most yards before contact in the NFL at 5,000 are great matchups here. Wide receivers, I talked about Cortland Sutton going up against one of the worst corners in the league as far as yards given up in Kendall Fuller, $6,400. I think it's very affordable price for him. Jalen Waddle at $5,600. This is just because we've seen him get 12 targets, 13 targets before, and Miami should be losing this entire game to Buffalo. He should see tons and tons of targets. Love him at this price. My tight ends here, Hunter Henry, we mentioned before, against Amen Ogbog Bamiga, $4,200. Pat Freiermuth,
Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you to Amaga, Bagaga.
Dude, you know how we're making the thing for our Twitch? I got to get you saying Amen Ogbog Bamiga like 100 different ways. I got to get that one.
You got the audio. You pull it. Yeah, pull it.
I will pull it for sure.
Yeah.
And then Pat Freiermuth also pull me saying I'll pull it for sure. Pat Freiermuth, $3,600. I think is a good buy for Pittsburgh, specifically in the red zone. Ben loves throwing to him. And I'm going to give you a defense too. Cincinnati. We talked about how bad the Jets are, and Cincinnati is like the fourth most expensive defense, but $3,600 is still not a bad price for them, specifically if you're buying cheap somewhere else, mainly at quarterback. But I love their defense this week. So that's going to go Stafford, Ryan, Harris, Gainwell, Sutton, Waddle, Henry, Freiermuth, and Cincy.
I told you before this, it didn't make it on my sheet, but it's really tempting. I kind of like Pat Freiermuth's receiving yards prop this week. It's only 22 yards. And I feel like coming out of the bye, he's becoming more of a receiving option. You guys don't have Juju. He's someone that needs to take place in this offense. I really like. Dude. I like.
He's getting more snaps than Ebron now too.
Yeah. He was in. I mean, FanDuel's pricing always feels a bit too much, and it doesn't look like a buy. Like I think he's more expensive. I could be wrong about this through my looking, but I think Pat Freiermuth is more expensive than Jonnu Smith right now. So that's a little bit but I really like that play. Over on FanDuel for me, if I'm playing the high end, I like Josh Allen. This is actually. He's not one of the, like you were saying, like Line Star. Like Line Star's got a couple quarterbacks this week, and Josh Allen isn't in there. But he's one of the dudes I want to get out there. Miami is ranked near the bottom. Essentially on the season, they've been giving up over 2 passing touchdowns a game. They're giving up over 300 yards passing, and he's a threat on the ground and in the air. The only worry you have is they get too far ahead, but you've also seen Buffalo kind of stack it on. So I like this as at least a 3-touchdown game for Josh Allen, especially coming off of a bye. So give me the Josh Allen Buffalo Bill quarterback at 8,800 if I was paying up. If I was going cheap, I don't know. Yeah, you didn't mention him, so this is good because I do want to admit I like a lot of your plays.
I did just mention him in my
you
play.
Did mention him in your play here because I've got a couple, like specifically I want to point out Damian Harris and Gainwell I did not put on here. They're just the next tier of the two guys I'm going to pick. I like Cortland Sutton. But you mentioned Teddy Bridgewater. I like Teddy Bridgewater this week. 7,000. It's a pretty good play. It's a pretty good matchup. He's coming off of a relatively horrid game. Washington is giving up over 2 passing touchdowns a game. You've got Cortland Sutton and Judy back, and Melvin Gordon's played good in the receiving side as well. So I think this is going to be a bounce back for Teddy Bridgewater. So I like him. On the running back side, you get the trend. I don't mean to do it, and I realize I did it after the fact, but the 2 running backs, if I'm paying up, 8,200 for James Robinson. There's no wrong play to play Derrick Henry or anything like that, but we talked about the yards given up as far as receiving goes for a guy like James Robinson. He's a primary focus or coming off of a bye. Seattle gives up a lot of points to running back, so I think he's a great play. And Elijah Mitchell, I like him on the prop because I think he's going to run through the Bears. The Bears give up a lot of yards, but I just want to point out if you want to do a cheap play of like Elijah Mitchell, Damian Harris, and Gainwell, you might be able to play it for wide receivers, and I think that's not a horrible play. If I was playing up for wide receivers, 2 I would want to pay up for. How about Jamar Chase, 8,200? He's an everyday play. It's against the Jets. It's a great matchup. Deebo Samuel, as always, 7,800. And I think you can officially call him a line star guy. I believe he's, near the top 3 of matchups. He's had 5 red zone targets in the last 3 games, and he was targeted at least 9 times in the last 3 games. He's a primary focus, and Deebo at 7,800 I think is great. And I mentioned Manny Sanders, stacking. If I got Josh Allen, I like Manny Sanders. For FanDuel, it's a little bit cheaper at 6,700. And on the tight end side, I don't feel great. I'm not even against, especially if I went cheap running backs, about maybe getting a higher tight end like a Kyle Pitts. But if I want to play it more median, I think chalk is Ricky Seals-Jones at 5,400. And, you mentioned Hunter Henry. It's a great matchup for tight ends going against the Chargers. And there always seems to be a mix. And Jonnu was a little bit more involved in the first half than Hunter Henry was.
Just
I'm gonna
go with
Jonnu.
Freiermuth there.
Freiermuth, I like too.
Up too. But Freiermuth is $100 more. Who would you rather take?
Than Jonnu?
Yes.
He's 4,900 on FanDuel.
Yes. You'd rather go with Pat. Just say.
You know what? I think I would. Yeah, I'll switch that. I'll go with Freiermuth this week. I'll take a stab because I think Jonnu is also kind of he's just and he's also like crazy touchdown dependent. I really like yards coming to Freiermuth this week. So yeah, I'll switch that to Freiermuth. So Freiermuth is now my play at 4,900. So I've got Allen Bridgewater, Robinson, Eli Mitchell, Jamar, Debo, Manny, and then Ricky Seals-Jones and Pat Freiermuth as my tight ends. That's my FanDuel setup here for plays. Those are our plays of the week. Hopefully we do something, god damn it. I don't want the wrong kid to die, god damn it.
Kid died, god
damn it. No, don't let that happen. InThisLeague.com, come and sign up, have so much fun. Do all the stuff and things. We got a betting room, which you might care about. We got a start and sit room. We do collectibles. We do all the stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I know you guys know Discord, and GroupMe almost sometimes feels like a little bit like old man, but we literally have all these just really placed out, well done rooms that have a lot of good access and interaction. So come and check that out. We got secret shows. We got all the other stuff. You guys know we've got the shirts in thisleague.fans. You can check out the Twitch, do the stuff, do the things on Twitter at Is It The Welsh at Bogman Sports. We're out of here. Go bet. Go make some money. Do better than I did last week. Oh, I hope I'm happy next week. That'll be a great for all of us. Bye, friends.
ECU.
ECU.
See y'all.
ECU. ECU. RVD.
The In This League podcast.